We finally have a start date for Contenders Trials Season 3, which means we'll find out who will be joining last season's qualifiers in our third regular season. Korea's Season 3 has proven rather unpredictable since its start. What should have been a straightforward affair from Open Division onwards has seen shoo-ins withdraw from the competition, orgs crumble and amalgamate, underdogs rise through the chaos, and players being dropped, promoted, and swapped at whiplash-inducing speeds. And now we have arrived at the second stage of the season with another curveball thrown into the mix. Likely due to the stipulation that Seoul Dynasty's Contenders team is guaranteed a regular season spot, it has been revealed that only 3 teams can qualify from trials instead of the usual 4. So looking ahead to the 23rd, let's take a closer look at the 8 teams competing for those lucky 3 spots at the top of the pack. Graphic design gods Goin S emerged from the Open Division as champions, taking the first place spot without dropping a single map. Goin S is led by support player Amy, who had a staggeringly unfortunate descent back in Season 2. He was dropped by Runaway in favour of Slime, then picked up by O2 Ordiant, before switching out to WGS to help them out, and then eventually becoming a free agent. But he quickly set his sights back on the path to pro and started recruiting a new team via Twitter in July. The original Goin S lineup included experienced players Amy, Krong, Umtae, Lagerman, and Noah, but by the time they hit Open Division, Krong and Lagerman had left, with Doa, Noji1, and Water bringing their numbers to 7. Whilst Doa was a rookie, the other players have been involved in the competitive scene since 2017. But last weekend, Amy announced the current lineup on his Twitter. Most notably was the lack of Water, as he has been replaced by Fitz for the trials. Goin S won Open Division rather decisively, and at its core is a group of seasoned pros who have a frankly wild array of Apex and Contenders experience between them. If there's any team to watch from the Open Division, it's these guys. Wildcat Gaming finished the Open Division in second place. They started their top 16 climb by beating Season 2 Open Division qualifiers Team BM, but their victory streak was decidedly ended in the finals when they lost to Goin S 0-4. The Wildcat roster is relatively fresh, though they have dropped Kostos from the Open Division going into trials. As for their chances, it's difficult to say. They managed to push it to Goin S pretty close on some maps, but couldn't edge them out. Let it be noted though that whilst they did lose 4-0, they at no point looked a complete mess or flop, and whilst they didn't win all their previous matches as decisively as Goin S, they did manage to make it to the finals rather comfortably. Their second place finish infers they do have some potential. Monofrog is the final team to have qualified from the Open Division, finishing in 3rd place. They started their journey as Monka S, complete with a Pepe logo. As they started climbing the ranks, questions rose as to whether they'd be forced to change their name due to Blizzard's low tolerance of the sad anthropomorphic frog. Making top 16 meant they needed a logo that would comply with Blizzard's policies for the tournament's official site, so they changed their logo to a minimalist Pepe, if you will. Their transformation was completed during the off-season as they re-emerged on social media just last week, rebranded as Monofrog. Another fresh-faced roster, the only experience they have under their belts is playing for Monofrog. Coming in 3rd for Open Division doesn't necessarily write them off, but I do wonder how they will fare against some more established teams like Seven and Foxes if they couldn't take out Goin S or Wildcat. It's looking unlikely. A new challenger appears. The 4th qualification spot from Open Division went to Freesia Gaming, but Team Stormquake emerged from the depths of nowhere on October 11th, announcing that they had acquired Freesia's spot and would therefore be competing in the upcoming trials. The name may be new, but the roster includes some familiar faces. To everyone's surprise, Kaiser, he of the Eye of Kaiser legend, announced that he had joined the team and would be competing in trials this season. He's joined by former WGS flexes FaZe and Aurelie, the latter leaving WGS on the back of the good old ubiquitous boosting allegations that seem to be around every corner in Tier 2. There are players with a lot of experience, and with Reinhardt back on Vogue, things could look promising, but we've also never seen them play together before. As Season 2 meta Athena can attest, it takes more than just individually experienced players to make a good team. It is with a heavy sigh that I turn my eye to Blossom. Formerly the org behind GC Busan's legendary Royal Road ride straight to the Overwatch League, they returned to Contenders with a rebrand, and well, they returned. Let's leave it at that. Though they won 1st place in the Season 2 trials, they then went on to lose every single match in the group stage, while fellow trials qualifiers MVP Space and GC Busan Wave advanced to the playoffs. Since crashing out of Season 2, things have been suspiciously quiet from the Blossom camp. Their social media gives the impression they have been busier covering the goings-on of their other esports teams, with very little insight as to how the Overwatch team is looking going into trials. The org seems to have been more focused on expanding their streamer roster over the off-season, so it looks like Blossom is headed to Trials with the same roster as Season 2, which, well, attests to the old adage, if it hasn't yet hit the ground from freefall and exploded into a rabid gasoline fire, then don't fix it. Every step forward seems to be followed by a staggering stumble backwards down at least one flight of stairs, so let's just say it's looking unlikely. 7 qualified second in their group Season 1 and finished top 8. In Season 2, they lost out on a spot in the playoffs due to map differential in a 3-way tie with MVP Space and G Busan Wave. They were unfortunate that their slip-up came at a time when G Busan Wave were so strong, which landed them in the Group B relegation spot, despite them technically scoring better than Group A qualifiers X6 Gaming. It appears their relegation has not reflected poorly on the players, since half of the roster is rumoured to have been picked up by the new Hwangju Owl expansion team. The state of their roster has been rather hush-hush due to the official OWL confirmations and whatnot, but we do know that whilst they've suffered some losses, they've also picked up a new DPS lineup with former X6 and Season 1 champion Glister, and former pupil of DC's coach Avala and Freesia player Latis. It seems like a top 3 spot is theirs to lose at this point, but this is a team that has gone through a lot of untested changes since Season 2. This is not the same lineup that beat MVP Space, Meta Bellum and Meta Athena to finish first in the Season 1 trials. On paper, they're a shoo-in. On LAN, there may be a question mark. This is an org that's been around since 2017, originally known as NC Foxes, and managed to climb their way up from Apex Online qualifiers to their Tier 2 standing today. At their peak, they hit 4th place in Apex Season 4, and haven't managed to recapture that glory since, placing increasingly lower in subsequent tournaments. Foxes has been busy off-season revamping their lineup. They've been unlucky with Sassin on temporary leave for academic issues and Fatal being released for family reasons, but they've picked up a ton of new talent to compensate, along with a new coach. Past credentials suggest they have a pretty decent chance at landing top 3. I wouldn't be too surprised if they manage to claw their way out of Trials to start their redemption arc. WGS Armament are another unknown factor coming into Trials. This team is a combination of 2 previous orgs, WGS H2, who were relegated from Season 2, and Armament, who failed to qualify from Open Division. Perhaps meeting on the middle ground is what this new pairing needs to find their footing together. Despite being a merger of 2 previously existing teams, this roster is pretty new. All of the former WGS roster is gone, and the only recognizable name from the current Trials lineup is DPI, who played for Armament. While a few of the former WGS players have popped up on Stormquake, the remainder of the roster is currently looking for a team. The WGS Armament that will be competing in Trials is 90% new. Whilst WGS has hit the regular season, Armament has never made it out of Trials. They didn't even make it out of the Open Division this season. But then again, does any of that matter when they've undergone such drastic changes? Count WGS Armament as yet another unknown factor going into Trials. The fight to the top 3 will kick off on the 23rd this week, with day 1 promising to be pretty illuminating, with matchups between Stormquake, Monofrog, Wildcat, Foxes, Seven and Blossom. The tournament runs until November 9th. Trials Season 3 certainly promises to be an exciting one with so many unknown variables. If you're here in Seoul, you can head down to the Infant Riser Arena near Jongja Station and watch for free. If not, you can always catch the game's broadcast on Twitch at @PlayOverwatchKR. And that's it! Let us know which teams you think will be qualifying in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in Nerf This, our weekly Korean Overwatch news video. Bye!